This video is brought to you by Tokyo Treat and Sakura. So there are a lot of relationships in Naruto, more specifically Boruto, but the relationships had to happen in Naruto for Boruto to happen. If you don't understand why that is, I'm not going to explain it to you, and also maybe you're too young to be on this page. While some of these relationships are incredible in the perfect melding of two characteristics into one relationship, some are not that. Some don't feel fleshed out, some feel tacked on, and some feel like they just don't even like each other. And then there's others who feel like they settled. Sorry, my dog just went on a rolling tirade and managed to knock over some of my figurine boxes. Look at him. Look at him. He wants me. Look what he wants from me. Okay, look. This is all he ever wants. How did you destroy this? We've owned this tug toy for 2 days. There used to be a ball here. Regardless, some of the ships that we got in Naruto just didn't fill our soul in the way we wanted them to. Which is why today, I'm going to talk about the definitive list of who should have ended up with who. Now, while this may technically be headcanon and largely based off my personal feelings, it's canon. Deal with it. But before we get to dealing with anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And while you're doing things, go ahead and follow my other YouTube page, NC Gamer 23. We just started it, and it's me playing video games. If you need more Nick content, that's the place to find it. Before we get into all that, guys, today we have our favorite reoccurring sponsor sponsoring the video. You already know, it's Tokyo Treat and Sakura. For those of you who are new, Tokyo Treat is a Japanese subscription snack service filled to the brim with snacks exclusive to Japan. Tokyo Treat allows you to experience modern day snacking through the eyes of a Japanese citizen, and each month's box comes with a theme. This month's theme is Snacking Shibuya, giving you the true feeling of being downtown in Tokyo. But here's the thing, you're getting snacks you may not understand, especially in languages you may not be able to read, and therefore something like this could be a bit intimidating. That's where our 24-page pamphlet comes in handy. Let's say we want to try these Kit Kats, but we don't know what allergens are in them or even what flavor they are. We just flip to their page in the pamphlet. That will tell us the allergens, the flavor, and an interesting tidbit about the snack we're interested in. So now that I know what I'm eating, down the hatch. What a rich, creamy, complex flavor coming from a Kit Kat. It's delicious. That's only Tokyo Treat. We still have to talk about Sakura. Sakura is very different from Tokyo Treat. Sakura gives you a glimpse into traditional snacking in Japan. With handmade and artisanal snacks, Sakura gives you a look into how Japan has been snacking for hundreds of years. And this month's theme for Sakura is a taste of Hokkaido. I don't know about y'all, but I can't read this. I mean, I can read milk, but that doesn't look like milk to me. So let's refer to our pamphlet. Apparently, these are Milk Bell Costellas, and they're mini cakes originally introduced by the Portuguese. Let's give them a try. Oh, they're sweet and spongy and incredibly flavorful. And on top of incredible snacks, Sakura also sends you one piece of kitchenware a month. This month is a bowl. So what are you guys waiting for? Become an international snacker today. Use the code NCHAMMER at checkout to get $5 off your first order of either Sakura or Tokyo Treat. But don't just go typing in Tokyo Treat or Sakura into your search bar, guys. Please use the links in my pinned comment and my description for access to the website. Let's get to snacking. So relationships, they're complicated. They're messy, and sometimes they just don't fit right. And while that is the case for many of the relationships in Naruto, some do fit, like Cinderella's shoe. So let's go ahead and talk about the ones that make sense. The one that is unequivocally the most agreed upon that it makes sense and is also really cute, Shikamaru and Temari. Shikamaru and Temari had more build up for a relationship than any other couple in the show, hands down. You can be like, oh, Naruto and Hinata. Yeah, Hinata had a crush on him, but Naruto didn't know who she was for 700 episodes. Shikamaru and Temari met in the Chunin exams, and they battled, and it was super cute, and Shikamaru gave up because he ran out of chakra, and then Temari went on to go destroy large swaths of Konoha, you know, romance. But even after that, they're seen walking around the village together whenever Temari's around, or they have to go out on missions together as Chunin, and the personalities are largely contradictory, with Temari being boisterous and loud, and Shikamaru being very reserved and quiet, which very much resembles what Shikamaru's parents' relationship looks like. So she fits into the generation, and they create a very powerful child in Shikadai who has the intellect of Shikamaru and the wind ability of Temari and the shadow releasing of Shikamaru. Overall, 10 out of 10. Perfect couple in Naruto. The gold standard. So let's talk about the silver standard, Hinata and Naruto. See, I have no real problems with them being shipped together. Obviously, Hinata has had a crush on Naruto since episode 1. They've been building up to it. If you can't see that, you're insane. And obviously, for a very long time, Naruto had a huge crush on Sakura. You could say it ran all the way till Shippuden, because when Sakura admits her love for Naruto, he considers taking her up on it. I mean, he shuts her down at one of the most savage moments in anime history, but still. It takes him a second. My problem is the subtlety that Naruto approached Hinata with. Obviously, Naruto the Last rectified this issue, but for the entirety of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, Naruto does not even notice Hinata. Sure, when she gets murdered by Pain, he freaks out and becomes Kurama. But the thing is, I feel as though he would have done that for any member of the Konoha 13. If that was Sai out there, Shino, Kiba, he would have been upset. Even more so if it was someone like Shikamaru, who he was close with. And then there's obviously the fact that they held hands in the war arc. Adorable. Round of applause. But it felt like physical contact tacked on in order to lead us to the conclusion that Naruto and Hinata were supposed to end up together. See, what Kishimoto did very well with Temari and Shikamaru was he hinted at them. They flirted. Naruto being so painfully obtuse kind of takes away from them getting together in the end. Unless, of course, you watch Naruto the Last, which is the reason that they're the silver standard to me. Naruto the Last is about Naruto addressing his feelings for Hinata. Finally, it takes her being kidnapped by one of the last Otsutsukis alive who lives on the moon, but he figures it out. And obviously they have Boruto, who now has a Jogan, maybe because of Hinata receiving Hamura's chakra. And they have another daughter, Himawari, who has the Byakugan and Naruto's chakra levels. Maybe, we don't know. And people will say, well, Naruto should have ended up with Karin or Sakura. Sakura, no, because there's a better choice for her down the line. But Karin wouldn't have made as powerful a child with Naruto as Hinata did. See, that child would just be 75% Uzumaki, which is incredible. But the fact that that child wouldn't be 100% Uzumaki means they wouldn't be able to use adamantite chains. More likely than not, they would have had more chakra than Naruto, but that kinda would have been it. Effectively, it would have just been Naruto squared. And while some people may want that, that seems boring to me. So the combination of Hinata's powers and Naruto's powers into both Boruto and Himawari makes me very happy. And the dynamic between them, even though it's just kind of Hinata as a housewife and Naruto never home, is still kind of functional and cute. Hinata's living her dream and Naruto is happy with somebody who loves him. Also, Hinata is one of the very few people in the village who would deal with Naruto being away all the time. Also, the kiss in the last. So good. Okay, now let's get to an existing relationship that makes no sense. It's not even the bronze standard. It isn't a standard. You probably guessed it already. It's Sakura and Sasuke. From the jump of Naruto, Sasuke had never shown any interest in Sakura. Obviously, the moment where she tries to stop him from leaving the village for the first time is very tough for Sasuke because maybe he's got a little bit of feelings for her. However, in the beginning of Shippuden, he almost Kirins her to death alongside Naruto. He stabs her in Shippuden. He puts her in a genjutsu where he stabs her again in Shippuden when she's trying to get him back after he kills Danzo. The entirety of the show, he is both emotionally and physically abusive to Sakura, but he's also like that to every single woman in his life, because some people will be like, well, why did Sasuke get with Sakura? He should have got with Karin. And while that would have made a powerful child, no doubt, I once again say it probably wouldn't be as powerful as Sarada currently is. Yes, the insane amount of chakra that this child would have gotten from the Uzumakis would have been nice, and that child probably would have been able to sustain their Sharingan longer than anybody ever. But that's it. You get Sharingan for a long time. And while that's very powerful in its own right, having Sharingan for a good amount of time and also the insane strength and speed of your mother on top of the possibility of a strength of 100 seal is significantly stronger. But we've talked about what makes Boruto Kid stronger and what the strongest combos would be. I'm talking about why. Why on earth did Sakura end up with Sasuke? In what might have been Kishimoto's largest fumble in the history of Naruto, of which there is many, Sakura should have rejected Sasuke in the end. In a moment that could have been very powerful for Sakura and just women in shonen, she could have said, the way you've treated me your entire life does not earn you the right to be with me. He comes back to the village. He's expecting to be with Sakura or Ino, and they both look at him and say,
sure, you might have paid for what you did to Naruto, but what about us?
What about stabbing me? What about emotionally abusing me? What about putting me in genjutsu? Nope. Once Sasuke says it's okay, Sakura says it's okay. Writing one of the most powerful women in the universe off just like that. One of the most doggedly persistent people in Naruto apparently has no strength of will when it comes to a man. If she didn't have other options, I guess I understand forgiving Sasuke somewhere down the line and ending up with him. But there is the easiest layup of all time. You know, outside of Naruto, who's been in love with Sakura her entire life? Rock Lee. In fact, they had built up towards Rock Lee ex Sakura before. When Rock Lee's in the hospital after his fight against Gaara, Sakura goes and visits him. Lee constantly brings Sakura flowers and admits his feelings for her. It's much the same as Hinata to Naruto, but the genders are swapped. And Rock Lee is arguably a top 3 favorite character in the Naruto franchise from the Naruto fandom. He also, better than anyone, including Naruto, encapsulates what Naruto is about. He encapsulates the fact that the circumstance of your birth does not determine how powerful, how strong, or how driven you can be. Let him marry the woman he wants to. Now, I know I said if Sasuke ended up with Karin, that child wouldn't be as powerful as Sarada. Look me in the eyes right now and tell me Rock Lee and Sakura wouldn't make a child stronger than Sarada. 8 gates, 100 healing, Sarada's strength, Rock Lee's speed. What do you want? That child would be Might Guy on steroids. But instead, we got Metal Lee, who's cool. He has a natural anxiety-driven drunken fist. That's cool, but we don't even know who his mother is. In Rock Lee, a crowd favorite is relegated to being a single father. Why? Sai got married, and he's one of my favorite characters, but he does not hold nearly as much weight in the fandom as Rock Lee does. Rock Lee got its own spin-off. So Sakura should have been with Rock Lee, and Sasuke should be with nobody. He has never treated anybody in his life even remotely good enough to end up with them. And that's including Karin, who he has stabbed with his Chidori and used her like a Setsu bean every chance he got. Not to mention, more likely than not, that her emotions towards Sasuke of love are Orochimaru playing with her memories. But since we were talking about Metal Lee, let's talk about Metal Lee's possible mother, Tenten. Tenten was gonna end up with Neji. I don't care what you say, I don't care what you think, that's what was going to happen. Neji was not going to marry Hinata, they're cousins. I understand that Hayashi likes to keep it in the blood, but Hayashi has also been planning how to get Hinata with Naruto both of their entire lives. I have a video about it. Go watch it. That being said, Neji's death did serve as a way for Naruto and Hinata to get closer. But if you think about it, Neji and Tenten makes a lot of sense. Neji is a genius and Tenten is not. But Neji's character arc was realizing that those born without strength can achieve it. And while Tenten may not be the most impressive member of the Konoha 13, she was still stronger by the end of the show than she was in the beginning. And that, believe it or not, was through a lot of hard work. On top of this, they were the two odd men out in Team Guy, often having to deal with Might Guy and Rock Lee's shenanigans. And in those circumstances, they had each other. They're both very laid-back personalities, both known for their abilities to roll their eyes at their fellow teammates and sensei. I honestly think they would have been really cute together. Neji most likely would have continued on as a Jonin or the head of the Hyuga family. I know he literally couldn't be according to like Hyuga law, but Hayashi watched his brother Hisashi die and it kind of changed Hayashi's brain on side and main branch family roles. Also, Hinata would have been busy being pregnant with Naruto's children, so maybe she wouldn't have been perfect for the role at the time. I don't know, it doesn't matter because technically he died to a stick. And instead, Tenten had to secretly have Rock Lee's child. Look at the eye shape and tell me Tenten is not Metal Lee's mother. What happened was Rock Lee got a little bit drunk, and remember, anytime any amount of alcohol hits Rock Lee's lips, he forgets everything. That night, 10-10, bing bang boom, Metal Lee. I think that Metal Lee got dropped off on his doorstep like 9 months later and he just has no idea whose kid it is. That's why he's not going to 10-10 for like alimony. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, I like Ino x Sai. This is an unpopular opinion because people believe there was absolutely no romance between Ino and Sai. And for a while, you're absolutely correct. But in Shikamaru's light novel, Shikamaru Shinden, we finally got why they ended up together. Essentially, 1 year after the war arc has ended, there's still a lot of people out there who are sympathetic to Madara's cause. So Naruto and Sai are sent out on a lot of missions to wipe these people out. Sai goes out on a mission to do something similar to this and he gets caught and put under a genjutsu that makes him sympathetic to Madara's cause and sympathetic to all the people that captured him. So Ino Shikacho have to go save him. And it actually looks pretty rough for all of them. Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino are all in a tough situation where this group of Madara sympathizers kind of have them on their heels. And it's mostly because Sai is working with them. And it's at this point that Ino tries to undo the genjutsu using mind transfer jutsu. You see, leading up to this, they had gotten barbecue together and she had a slight attraction to him, which made a lot of sense because think about it, he was quite literally the person who replaced Sasuke. And some uncultured weebs will call him Sasuke Light, even though Sasuke is Sai Light. But if Ino is into Sasuke, which is dark and brooding, then Sai is just down her alley. But once she dove into his mind, she began to understand who Sai is as a person. She started to see the years of depersonalization that separated his personality from humanity, seeing that even when he's trying, he can't fully be himself. And this made her fall crazy in love with the dude. So after the mission, they end up together. And that is legitimately more of a love story than we got for a lot of these other relationships. So for that level, I put Sai and Ino on the same level as Shikamaru and Temari. Also because the combination of their abilities to make Inojin is legitimately really cool. Having mind transfer jutsu and ninja beast scrolls, which are two of the more interesting jutsus in Naruto, is really interesting. Also, they can share crop tops. Now we're gonna step out of Konoha for a second because there's another person outside of Konoha who deserves love and is shipped rather frequently. See, a lot of people will ship Gaara with Naruto. And it doesn't not make sense. Gaara seems to like Naruto a lot. Whether that's as an admiration or a love, I'll leave that up to you. It's actually not the direction I'm going though. You see, what's wild to me, and I guess makes a lot of sense for Gaara, is that he's one of the most widely beloved and widely desired people in the Hidden Sand. I mean, he's the Kazekage who turned the village around. He led the shinobi forces. I'd have the hots for him too. He didn't have that Boruto haircut, that is. Gaara legitimately has an entire light novel dedicated to Kankuro and Temari trying to hook him up with people. And for a second, it looks as though he's found a woman who's interested in him, but eventually she tries to assassinate him because she had a secret husband. See, Gaara has what I like to call absolutely no luck in love, but it doesn't have to be that way. People are always like,
Oh, well, who's he gonna hook up with? Pakura, she's dead. Temari, that's his sister. There's no options in the Hidden Sand.
and amongst people we know in Naruto and have had significant screen time, that's pretty much true, except for the exception of one person, Maki. See, Maki became very important in the war. Her jutsu ability was cloth manipulation. Essentially, she had a huge roll of cloth that she could pour her chakra into and bind people with it, or use it defensively or offensively. She was a Fuin jutsu specialist, bit like Gaara, who uses sand to bind many of the Edo Tenside shinobi. So they both fought in the 4th Great Ninja War, and both are specialists in Fuin jutsu. Makes more than a little bit of sense that they would bump into each other once or twice. But what's even crazier than that is that Maki was present in the Kazekage rescue mission. So they literally have a meet cute. Maki was there when he got revived. So as to how they never met, I simply can't explain it. Especially considering that her personality is much bolder and upfront, and that would perfectly match Gaara's subdued nature. Like, write a story about some kind of beast going crazy, and the Hidden Sand needs to get its best Fuin jutsu users together. Hell, it could be Shukaku. Let's say Shukaku gets put under a genjutsu, and Gaara thinks he can do it on his own, but Kankuro and Temari force him to bring Maki. 1, as a play to keep an eye on his health, but 2, as a possible way to set them up. Shenanigans ensue as they follow Shukaku across the lands trying to seal him, and eventually they fall in love. And then the rest of the Sand Village has exactly what they want, which would be the Kazekage being married and having children. But instead, they wrote a book about Gaara, who's one of the most beloved characters in all of Naruto, trying to fall in love, kind of falling in love, and then having that woman try to assassinate him. Give me Akatsuki Hiden, but with Gaara and Maki. Not hard. And then Shinki could quite literally be his son. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Nick, you went to Gaara before you even finished up the Konoha 13. We're getting there. The end of this list is a bit out there. You're gonna have to stick with me on this one, but I'm actually really proud of making this connection. And it's mostly built on hearsay and my general feelings, so take it with a grain of salt. Shino. He's single, right? Even in Boruto, he's just a teacher, which is unfortunate because he's actually a pretty cool guy and also incredibly powerful. A lot of power to pass on to future generations. But I know what you're saying. Everybody else is already taken from Konoha in terms of women. In my perfect circumstance where Tenten is with Neji, that is. So it looks like Shino is gonna have to look outside of the village. But here's the thing, Shino's bugs are incredible for reconnaissance and assassination. His role as a teacher actually makes very little sense. He's an incredibly talented jonin, obviously he has a lot of knowledge to impart, but he should be out there gathering knowledge. And you can say, well, yeah, there's not a whole lot of spying going on in the era of peace. And you're right, but if anybody should be outside of the village a lot, outside of Sasuke, it should probably be Shino or other strong Abarames. So maybe one time when Shino was out doing reconnaissance, trying to find new bugs even, he bumped into the 5th Mizukage, Mai. And I know what you're saying, Nick, they're drastically different ages. Obviously, Shino is of age at this point. This is years down the line. But Mai has been looking for a husband for decades. She has an incredible drive to get married, and she also has an insane amount of power to pass down. She's also a very forthright and flirtatious personality. Somebody who will do the majority of the talking in the relationship. Somebody who would maybe go outside of what would typically be their normal type in order to fulfill the goal of being married. Not saying settled because Shino is not settling, he's a great guy. And he's also technically never lost a fight. So maybe she makes advances on Shino and he's too shy to say no. Or maybe she's always talking over him because that's kind of Shino's whole thing, getting talked over. I mean, we're in the era of peace. Dating between villages is not weird anymore. and look at me in my eyes and tell me you don't think Shino would be into older women. He's never particularly expressed interest in any of the women around him. Maybe he was always looking for a cougar? And this would satisfy both Mai and Shino because Mai is looking for a younger man. You can tell based off the way she acts around all the strong younger men in her life. Is it a stretch? Yes. Is it my favorite headcanon ship? Also yes. But since we're talking about out-of-village ships, let's talk about Choji. See, Choji ended up with Karui. That's fine, I guess. But the only explanation we ever get for this relationship is during Sakura Hiden, which takes place about 3 years after the war. Essentially, while Ino and Sakura are chatting, they bring up Choji. And Sakura asks if Choji's not too interested in food to look for love, to which Ino says no, he's actually been sneaking out of the village to go to the hidden cloud for any reason. Any chance he can get, he's looking for an excuse to go see Karui. And that's it. We've never seen Choji and Karui's first meeting. And while I think having an interracial ship in Naruto is nice, it never really made a lot of sense to me. There was no chemistry, they never met. I mean, they're cute in Boruto, I guess, but she's always yelling at him and she doesn't seem very happy with the way that he nonchalantly approaches everything. But there is somebody in the hidden cloud who's incredibly nonchalant, so nonchalant that her name directly translates in English to cool. And that would be Samui. See, Samui is the leader of Karui's team. She leads Team Samui, and her name directly translates to cool, and it's the word that she says more than anything else. Once you learn even a small amount of Japanese, you realize most names in anime are just bad puns. But she's incredibly easygoing. I mean, she was the person who stopped Karui from caving Naruto's face in. And if we're just gonna slap Choji with somebody from the hidden cloud, this made more sense to me, especially when you consider the fact they're both on the thicker side. It's just Karui and Choji don't seem necessarily happy because of the contrast in their personalities. And obviously Chocho has the realization in one filler episode in Boruto that they are happy, but yeah, just my feeling. I was eating chocolate, so now he's here. But speaking of dogs, that brings us to our last entry on the list. Kiba. Kiba's relationship in Boruto is somewhat confusing. He's dating a kind of cat girl. It's anime canon, but that's not who Kiba should have ended up with because she technically doesn't exist in the manga, and also, like cats and dogs, it's cliche. There is another person out there though who, just like Kiba, relies on things in order to strengthen their power as a ninja, who made a lot more sense. Like if you're gonna say he dates a girl who likes cats, why not he dates a person who likes puppets? I mean, puppets are things that you create and then use in combination with your own power to bolster your power. Just as Kiba raised Akamaru and now his new dog in Boruto to bolster his own power. The maintenance and delicate dance of keeping these things healthy and clean and well running in order to maintain your strength is a good connection, especially when you consider the events of Naruto the Last, the manga, not the movie. Essentially puppets that they've created, they auto set and then can go do their own thing without anybody controlling them. And Kankuro is sent find out how they did this. You see, Kankuro is on the everlasting quest to find the perfect puppet or create the perfect puppet. A puppet who doesn't need to be controlled. A puppet that has free will to a degree. Wouldn't it make sense to explore the relationship between humans and ninja hounds to better understand how to make a companion that can perfectly operate without you? You see, while Akamaru does often take commands from Kiba in order to figure out what he should be doing in the battle, Akamaru still has free will and can impart his own will into the fight without Kiba's commands. That level of sentience could be applied to a puppet. And let's not act like Kiba and Kankuro haven't met before. They have, in fact, in very important situations. Kiba was going to die unless Kankuro came and fought Sakon and Ukon. Then they worked together to kill Sakon and Ukon. You see, Kankuro, even in Boruto, is single because he's too busy running the Hidden Sands military, or at least that's what he says. And Kiba, at least manga canon-wise, is childless and single. Maybe he just spends too much time with his dogs? Listen, this ship would never happen in a million years because Kishimoto would never have the balls to go that far. These are two relatively likable characters who have similar power sets and a good reason to meet each other. Well, they've already met, but a good reason to re-meet each other. I think there's truly no reason for them not to be together. But then again, what do I know? I just talk about Naruto professionally. What do you guys think? Who should have been together? What are your favorite headcanon ships? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And while you're super at it, go ahead and please follow my other YouTube channel, NCGamer23, where I play video games and record it. I think one day it's gonna be bigger than this page, so get there early. Listen, I know I didn't bring up Sasuke and Naruto as a relationship, but let's be real, they're already dating.